Hi there, and welcome to the Feel Good Hypnosis YouTube channel. My name is Turan Mirza. I'm a hypnotist and clinical hypnotherapist. In this video coming up, I'm being interviewed by the lovely Noeleen Kelly. She has a Facebook page called @Noeleen's Kitchen Table, and it's designed to be a really relaxed, informal chat as you would over a kitchen table. And she just talks to various healthcare professionals like myself, and we've been networking for some time now. And when she saw me on a recent event talking about hypnosis, she says, you have to come along and talk at my kitchen table. So this is what follows. It was a lovely time chatting with her. Please do check out her Facebook page and follow along and check out her other interviews from other people. But right now, let's watch the video with Noeleen. If you like the Feel Good Hypnosis videos, then make sure you click the big red subscribe button below, and don't forget to click the bell notification so you get notified when a new video is coming out. If you like this video, then make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you give it a like, and don't forget, I want to hear from you. So if you have any comments, any questions, then make sure you leave it in the comment section below.
Evening, everybody. It's Noeleen here, as usual, on Tuesday night from Noeleen's Kitchen Table. And tonight, I'm delighted to say that my guest is Turan Mirza. Some of you may know him, I'm not quite sure, but I have known him for some time now, probably a couple of years, and I'm absolutely fascinated by what he does. I don't know if you saw the little ad I put up earlier on. It was a little bit about him. I met Turan at a networking event, Bismarck, I think we met on, and once I say hello to him, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him that I do know. So, Turan, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here at last.
And pleasure's all mine, shall we say? Yeah, indeed. Great to see you.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. Turan's business is called Feel Good Hypnosis. And Feel Good Hypnosis is a hypnosis business run by Turan, who is a full-time hypnotist and clinical hypnotherapist. The business covers both change work, what some people would call hypnotherapy, but Feel Good Hypnosis prefer the term change work, as it better describes what they do, i.e. they change the way people think. Turan has trained in the art of hypnosis with the best names in the business from all over the world, trainers from Dubai, Denmark, England, Scotland, Canada, the US, it goes on, and he keeps up to date with the latest techniques by regularly attending major hypnosis conventions. And since 2017, he's been speaking at them in Las Vegas, Zurich, Central America, and the UK Hypnosis Convention in London now for the third time. Wouldn't mind going to some of those with you. Anyway, Feel Good Hypnosis covers a wide range of change work over and above the traditional stop smoking and weight loss programs. These include, but are not limited to, removal of fears and phobias, anxiety, panic attacks, teeth grinding, and much more. So I'm sure you all have some of those. Through working with people to improve their minds, Feel Good Hypnosis improve the quality of people's lives. Well, God knows we all need that at some stage and in different areas of our lives. So thanks again for coming on. And can you maybe just tell us, I'll tell you what I thought about hypnosis first, Turan, if you don't mind. Years ago, I was at a little club, and there was a gentleman then going to hypnotize someone, and I thought, this is just a racket, and I was a bit nervous. Actually, I was, for a change, I wasn't talking, and I was looking down thinking, don't pick me. But anyway, he picked this person from the audience. They went up, and he was actually swinging, I think it was a watch or something, and I was scared because I thought, oh my God, what if he picks you and you go up there and so I'm just gonna see if we're recording on this one. What if you go up there and he picks you and you do something crazy, like, 1 second, sorry. There we go. I'm sometimes I can do crazy things without hypnosis, and I thought it would be drastic if it happened and you wouldn't know what he's going to do to you. So I was nervous about it, and I felt for the girl, but I didn't pay a lot of attention because I was scared if I listen to what he's saying, maybe it'll affect me too. So I truly didn't know if he picked this person and it was just a scam or if it really worked, but I did not feel comfortable with it at all. Since that, I've seen you operate. I've watched you from afar, and I think, no, he's real. He's kind. He's good. He's decent. And I had really good feelings about you. So I thought, no, he does it right, and he does what he's meant to do. So how did you get into it? How did you start? Or tell us a bit about how you got into
basically it. I've got 4 kids. I call them kids. The youngest is 20 now, and the oldest is about to turn 30 in August. We always call them kids, whatever age they are. The bottom line is, when they were younger, I used to call what I would call silly dad magic. Oh, there's a coin from behind your ear type stuff, magic. And So I used to just, when I saw something on the TV, maybe watching Paul Daniels or something, I would pick up a little magic trick and research it, find out how to do it, and then impress the kids. I wouldn't have done it with adults because they would go, it was in your hand or whatever. You just hit it, whatever. But the kids were always fascinated by it. So that encouraged me to do more, to inflict magic on the kids. So I saw one trick one day from Darren Brown. You might know him, you might have seen him on TV. And he doesn't advertise it as hypnosis, but when I did the research, I said, I want to do that one in the kids. It turned out to be hypnosis and not magic. And I started learning and reading up on it. And I just got hooked on the subject, to the point where I ended up going on training. And well, the rest is history. You know, I went on training. The very first training course I went on, I was flying, it was in England, and I was flying back from Stansted back to Belfast at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. And as us fellas do, you know, I say us fellas, I shouldn't be sexist there. I went into Dixon's to look at the cameras and the computers and stuff, you know, the techie stuff. And I walked out of that shop saying, God, those people looked bored. There's no customers in. There's 3 staff members and they were all just twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah.
And I thought I should have hypnotized one just for a bit of entertainment. So nervously, because I had never hypnotized anyone before other than the few people I'd hypnotized, you know, hypnotizing each other during the training that weekend. So I walked around the airport, built up the nerve, and I thought to myself, if I go in there and there's no customers, I'll hypnotize someone. And I walked in, guess what? There was nobody there. I mean, Sunday night, Stansted, it's not like Heathrow or whatever. Yeah. And I went up to couple of guys. I'd been talking to the girl earlier. I went up to a couple of guys and says, you know, talking about cameras, which one's best, the Canon or the Nikon? And I says, you guys look bored. He says, yeah, there's nothing to do here. I says, would you like to see some entertainment? And they went, yeah, why? What do you got? I says, I'm a hypnotist. And in good macho style, the guys went, oh, and ran away and pointed over to the girl I'd been speaking to earlier and said, hypnotize her. And she looked up and says, what's happening? What's up? What's up? He wants to hypnotize you. They threw her under the bus, as the saying goes. And she says, yeah, I'm game. And bang, I hypnotized her. Wow. And that was, I'll coin the phrase, keep it in context. You always remember your first. And that girl was named Zara. And dare I said, the only reason I really remember that was because my daughter's named Zara. So I just thought it was a nice coincidence, the first person
of course
I hypnotized. So that's it. And from there, I just really got hooked on it. What
was that? I mean, when was that when you started?
So that was 2010. That was 2010. So just over 10 years ago, because it was late 2010.
And were you working at something else before that?
Indeed. So I was an engineer. I was a software engineer.
Oh, wow.
So I used to program computers. For 27 years, I was a software engineer. Then I became a software manager. And then I became a director of engineering. So I used to manage software engineers, electronics engineers, and mechanical engineers.
So you could help me with my second screen.
I could indeed. Although technology's moved on and I've moved out of that sector. So I was an engineer right up until 2000 and director up until 2016, okay. And then moved into hypnosis full time. So I'd been doing this as a hobby, as an interest. During that time, I taught my son how to do it, and the two of us would just go out in Belfast, would just take a regular sort of video camera out in the streets of Belfast and video each other just for the practice, hypnotizing passers-by. That gave their permission. I just want to add that I didn't, hypnotize somebody that didn't know they were going to be hypnotized. And it was just fun. And it was my son who actually started the YouTube channel. So I've got again, the business name is Feel Good Hypnosis. There's the branding on my shirt there, Feel Good Hypnosis. If you look for that logo, you'll see a YouTube channel, which started in 2013. So he says, you should be putting this stuff up on the internet. Yeah. And YouTube, 2013, it was still in its early days, 8 years ago. And then I just started posting because I had like a backlog of videos. Yeah. I started to post one every Sunday, and I've been posting a new video every Sunday since 2013.
Really? Wow. You have a lot of them then. I must have.
That's it. There's over 500 videos up there.
Fantastic. I must look. Actually, I'm not into this stuff, as you know, too much, but I mean, that's very interesting. I'll be able to have a good look at those.
Well, that's it. But what I've done, I mean, it used to just be the street hypnosis clips. And then as I sort of moved into this full time and used to go to, networking events, whether it was up in Dundonald or the Mollusk Business Park or whatever, I used to get invited along as a speaker, or under my enterprise agency as well, for instance. And there's some lovely videos on YouTube of some nice talks at Under Enterprise where I would hypnotize people. So I would get them up, I'll say, on stage to the front of the room, to demonstrate hypnosis. So I'm a great believer in not just, talking about a subject. So if I was talking about chess, I'd want to play a game of chess and just show people how it works. In my case with hypnosis, I want to get people up to the front of the room and hypnotize them and show that it works. And so all that footage is up there on YouTube as well.
Fantastic. I remember seeing you. I've seen you a few times. I remember recently it was with Claire Hughes. I think it was a session you were doing with Claire, and there were some ladies there, and it was fantastic what you did. And she was so impressed, the girl, afterwards.
That's it. I mean, it was almost was unplanned in a way. I mean, we'd booked in advance that we would do 2 or 3 talks on hypnosis, 2 or 3 45-minute shows, shall we say, on Zoom. Claire runs Soiree Social, which is a matchmaking service, and she has quite a big audience, and she put it up beyond that audience, just anyone could join. And we talked about hypnosis a bit like tonight, and at the end of it, we signed off the Zoom and we got together and said, what did you think? How'd it go? What do we do next week? And during the first show, a few people had expressed interest. So I said, well, why don't I pick someone out of the audience, or why don't we, Claire and myself, randomly pick someone out of the audience, and I'll work with them. And we selected a girl called Patricia, lovely girl, Patricia, who was looking to lose some weight. So, let me take a step back, because, Claire said, oh, I'm having a bit of trouble sleeping. She says, why don't you work with me? And to be fair and unbiased, I says, well, if we go on next week and say I worked with Claire, it's a bit like if I was to work with you now. Everybody say, well, that's just a fix because she's the host. So I says, I can't work with you, Claire. No offense. It'll just look fixed. So we picked, Claire rang up Patricia. She had the contact details from signing up on Zoom, and Patricia said yes. And we met up off camera, and I worked with her through weight loss. And she came on the following week, dare say, raving about me. And I think you came on to the 3rd week. And again, further updates from her. She was drinking usually 2 liter bottle of Diet Coke every day and a half or so. And by the end of it, she wasn't even fussed on it. She was just drinking water and various other improvements to her eating habits. All through mindset.
That was fabulous. I was really impressed by that. I have to say, I remember saying that, she'd given up the fizzy drinks and that. And I'll add in there, just in case, I went on there because I knew you were going to be speaking on that. It wasn't because I was going to the date.
That's why I did add. I mean, not there's anything wrong with it.
But I'm happy as I am. Thank you very much. But it just made me laugh there. I thought, I'll be getting questions now. Were you on that dating agency looking for?
That's why I pointed out. It was open to the public to join in, and it was a good wee audience, and it was a good show. Everybody, really got good feedback from it, and got other clients from it, which is nice,
Yeah. And I noticed as well. I've noticed when I've seen you. This is before I actually started to talk to you. When I had myself convinced, okay, hypnosis is okay. Don't be afraid of them, because they're not going to hypnotize you unless you want to, and you need to take part in this. They don't just do it like so. Because I used to think that I thought, God, if I get hypnotized, like I would be. Sometimes I do things that would be off the scale anyway, and I think if I get hypnotized, God, dear knows what they'll have you do next. Because that man on the stage kind of made me very nervous about the whole thing. But I know now that's nonsense, Oh
well, I mean, you brought up some good points there in terms of that. And there's a lot of misconceptions about hypnosis.
Yeah,
that it's mind control, that I'm doing something to you, or maybe there's beams coming out of my eyes, or magnetic fields coming out of my hands. That's not how hypnosis works. You know, it's really about me talking to you and getting you to connect with yourself. Believe it or not, we all go into hypnosis 8 or 9 times a day. So by this time of night, you've probably went in 7 or 8 times into hypnosis yourself, naturally. So it's a natural phenomenon. And all I'm doing is utilizing that natural phenomenon to get you to connect with yourself in a focused manner.
And does that happen for any particular reason? You know, when we do, like, you know, the way you circadian rhythm, there's times when you just go, like, for example, you go into a dip, and then in the 90-minute session, you know, you're going to dip, then you kind of become alert again, all that kind of thing. Or is it just happens, depending on what you're thinking?
What you're really doing is accessing. I mean, you know, we talk about the conscious and the unconscious mind, and we usually say, you know, it's 10% conscious and 90% unconscious, but those numbers are just indicative of our mind, and it's not 2 different brains. We don't have 2 different brains. It's just one brain with you know, different elements that we think of all the time, like what am I going to have for tea? What question am I going to ask Turan next? These are all sort of conscious things that are going through our head consciously. But there's things like, you know, what was the color of the door on the first house that I lived in? Now that I've asked that question, can you think of the color of the door of the house you first lived in?
Yeah, I know what color it is now, but I don't know what color it was when I first lived in it.
But believe it or not, in hypnosis, you'll be able to access that information. Really? So all that piece of information and all the information that you don't access on a daily basis is still inside your head. But to think of it consciously would just overwhelm you. Yeah. So we put a lot of that information in what we call our unconscious mind. And several times a day, we might want to access that. We might hear a dog bark, and we'll go into our unconscious mind to try and think of all the dogs we've ever seen, to see whether we feel that one barking just out of our sight is likely to be dangerous. Yep. And if it sounds like a poodle that we heard last week, we'll say, oh, well, we saw that poodle after we heard it bark and it wasn't dangerous. Or if it sounds like an Alsatian and we saw an Alsatian biting the arm of some policeman with a big rubber thing around his arm to protect it, you know, when you see these things on TV, then we'll say, oh, that might be a dangerous animal, so we need to be careful. So we don't think about dogs and the dangers of dogs all the time, but the minute we hear something barking, we might think, and our brain goes inside. We go into the hypnosis, we go into that trance state to access all the information that it's not in the front of our minds, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, you know, I mean, I know we're talking about the color of the door, but I can think of a lot more things that would be kind of really, what's the word I'm looking for, beneficial, or things you might really want to know. So you saying everything you think about or have thought about, you can, if it's still in there and you can get it out again.
It's in there, but it just makes no sense to think about it. You know, again, I could probably hypnotize you.
No, don't.
And I'm not without your permission. But I could hypnotize someone, and get them to remember what they were wearing on their 5th birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a lovely friend called Noeleen. I don't think she's in tonight. She'll be listening, but maybe not tonight. And there are so many people, to be truthful, I know are very interested in hypnosis, but they're still a bit scared, and they don't want to ask questions because they think questions are silly and all that. Well, there are no silly questions. If you don't know, you don't know. But yeah, it'd be quite interesting. I'd actually like to do that sometime. But you know what I'm thinking about is maybe nothing to do with hypnosis at all. But just for example, you know, when you have a phobia, like I had a huge one about going to the dentist because I've had 2 or 3 really bad experiences. And when I flew as cabin crew, you know, when you're in the pressurization, the pressured cabin, and you have like a wee air pocket or something in your tooth, and the pressure drives it crazy, and you're 35,000 feet up, or you can't go anywhere, so you have to put up with the pain, really, things like that. And when I think of the dentist, all that well, not all that, but some of that comes back to me, and I have got that in my head. So no matter when I want to go, I'm thinking, no, I remember the bad experience, or when they were drilling and something, you know, this thing. So I've got a real thing about the dentist. But probably if you bring all that back, or you know, thought about that, it makes it better. You can make it better.
Indeed, in the moment that you had that pain, or in the moment that you thought about going to the dentist to fix that pain, and you remembered the pain when you were 35,000 feet in the air, you told your brain, you know, don't go to the dentist because he's only going to bring that pain back.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know, chances are he would anesthetized, that's the word I was looking for, your mouth, and you wouldn't have felt that pain.
Yeah.
But you convinced yourself, practically, in other words, you hypnotized yourself into believing if you go to the dentist, you will feel that pain. So you then added a little extra information into that brain and said, so stay away. If you even think about a dentist, you get heart palpitations, break out in a sweat, whatever your reaction is, you taught yourself, you trained yourself, your mind, to do just that. And that's how a phobia is born. We're not born with these things. I mean, you weren't born with a toothache to have that phobia. So this is quite nice. And it's the same. I mean, when you think about airplanes, I think they're just turned 100 years old, the Wright brothers and whatever. So the idea of, you know, we inherited this from our great grandfather as a phobia of flying, that doesn't make sense, because there were no planes back then, you know. So everything all these fears, all these anxieties, all these phobias are learned behaviors.
Yeah.
And the good news is, anything you learn, you can relearn. Yeah. And it's just about talking to that part of your mind that is storing that belief. Now, you're not consciously, you might not be, I never told myself, don't, you know, that pain will come back. That's your conscious mind thinking that, but you've told your unconscious mind. Yeah. So what we need to do is talk to the unconscious mind. So my process as a hypnotist, and I call myself a hypnotist rather than a hypnotherapist, I just don't like the word therapy. You know, if you Google the word therapy, it means to overcome a disorder. Yeah. And I don't think you're broke. I don't think you're out of order. You have a disorder. You just have one way of thinking, and we want to change that way of thinking. Yeah. So that's my job, is not to probe inside your mind and find that bit and change it myself. My role is just to get you to connect with your unconscious mind, and you will change yourself.
Right, and once you've changed it, that's probably going to stay like that again. You know what
I mean? That's it. Again, there's a lovely, on the YouTube channel, there's a lovely video of a girl called Rosemary from Red Office Supplies. I met her through Belfast Hour, another networking group on Twitter. And I mean, it's 3 or 4 years ago now, so it's quite one of my very early ones on YouTube. And she still tweets saying, totally changed my life. Because, and that was 15 years. That was 15 years of a fear of heights.
Yeah.
And in 1 hour, I changed that thought pattern. And that's lasted and will last forever.
Brilliant. Yeah. I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, do you find people have to come back to you? But very often it's done in one session.
It's terrible for business. It's terrible for business. But now, again, just to qualify, because you tagged that little bit of a question at the end of that question in terms of, does it just take one session? I can't guarantee one session, because if you've listened carefully, the change is happening by you, within you.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you're going to find the right thing to change right away. And I don't see what you've changed. Again, this is another beautiful thing. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want you looking inside my head and seeing all the skeletons in the closet or whatever. I don't see any of that. And in terms of helping people change, a lot of the times I don't see a lot of detail about what has happened. A nice example is teeth grinding. There was a lady came to me, she was about 34 years of age. And she says, my dentist tells me I've been grinding my teeth for about 4 years. Now, there's hypnosis is just not one tool, one way of doing things, but there's many tools. And one of the tools I used was regression to cause. So I told her in hypnosis to go back to the very first time she felt like grinding her teeth. And I said, what age are you now? And she says, I'm 6. And I said, where are you? She says, I'm alone, I'm in bed, and it's cold.
Oh.
And that's all the information she gave me. And I'm summarizing a wee bit, but I basically said to her, see why you're doing that and realize that it doesn't need to be the case now. And she was able to recognize the difference between 6 and being who she was now, and make the changes of her thoughts and the way she thought about that event back when she was 6, and she started grinding her teeth. Now, she came out of hypnosis, and at that point, I can say, right, that's us, go on home. Some clients are going to go, you know what that was? I says, I don't need to know. She says, I want to tell you. I want to tell you so you listen. And she says, when I was 6, she says, I haven't thought about this in years. I haven't connected it with, my teeth grinding. She says, but when I was 6, my father got a job in Germany and the whole family moved from Northern Ireland to Germany. Yeah. Now, you still might be struggling with that. And what I say next is really guesswork. I'm guessing that if the whole family was moving, all our toys disappeared maybe a month before the move into cardboard boxes to get shipped off to Germany. That would have been traumatic to a 6-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
My mum always said, pick one toy, the rest is going away. And again, 6 years old, she's probably the first time she's gotten an airplane. I'm assuming, I don't even know if it's an airplane or a boat. It was the first time she would have done major travel.
Yeah.
And all the maybe, the signposts going up for the house selling from Northern Ireland and all the moves, that would have been very traumatic to a child.
Of course.
Again, I'm guessing, but they probably got into Germany late. They go into the Spar supermarket to buy some bread and milk for the breakfast the following morning. And she's walking around that shop, but she can't understand what people are saying because they're all talking German.
Yeah.
Trauma. She gets to the house. The house is probably cold. Mom probably has a brand new duvet. She's doing all her best for her daughter. The child goes to sleep. She's cold. She's shivering. And she has all these feelings in her body about all this travel and can't understand people. And where's my toys? This is a new house. And the brain goes, oh, when you have this feeling, I know what to do. Clench. So it might be 10 years, maybe 20 years, in her case, close to 30 years later. And maybe she's cut off in traffic on the way to work. She's maybe thinking about the boss and that report she has to get in. These feelings come back. It's cold. It's a November morning. And she's going, argh. And the brain goes, that's a habit. That's the second time you've done it. I know what to do now. So she goes to sleep. She thinks about some stress in work or whatever. And she starts to grind her teeth. Now, if she hadn't told me about the Germany thing and about the house, I wouldn't have known. And I don't need to know. Yeah. She was able to go, is that why? And again, I don't mean no disrespect for her, but is that why? That's a silly reason. Yeah. It was fine for a 6-year-old. It was very logical to think and make that connection when you're 6 years old. But, when you're a grown adult and it's, damaging your teeth. And again, the thing about teeth grinding is, you cut yourself gardening at the weekend. It's going to grow. It's going to heal. It's going to scab. It's going to grow back. Your teeth, your enamel doesn't grow back. Yeah. So if you grind your teeth, that's your teeth damaged, Yeah. So she's able to say to that unconscious part of her while she's in hypnosis, hey guys, I know I told you, if you feel this anxiety, grind your teeth. Well, you were mistaken by the cold weather. I'm older now. You don't need to do this. I'm not saying she has that exact dialogue, but that's the process that's going on inside her. So I don't know what exactly she said to herself. I don't know why she was in that room. She told me later, but I didn't know. And for a lot of people who maybe have personal issues, they can leave without ever having discussed what the situation was. That's the beauty of hypnosis. It's very what they call content free. There's very little content at all. Yeah.
So what you're saying as well, Turan, is kind of nearly like, just say, for example, I'm going to use my example because I don't know any other ones. If like I told myself, okay, this is nonsense now. You're going there to be made better, if you like. This is going to improve you. It's going to help you. These people are there to help you. They want to help you. And it's a wonderful thing to do. Go and get this tooth fixed or whatever, extracted or whatever you need to do. And then if you kept telling yourself that and telling yourself, you'd almost be hypnotizing yourself to change that.
The problem is, because you're not taking yourself into that responsive trance state,
right?
Everything you tell yourself is conscious and stays within that, in inverted commas, because it's not really 10%, an abstract number.
Yeah.
You're staying within that 10% part of your conscious brain. Okay.
Getting into the other.
So what you need to do is go into a trance state with someone you trust. Could be me, could be a female hypnotist, could be a better looking hypnotist, if there is any. Could be an older hypnotist.
More modest one.
Or a more modest one, So and at that point, at that point, you're talking without any judgment or restriction, saying, look, this is for my health, that I go get my, I'm getting, holes in my teeth and they're not being filled because I've got this fear. But I got this fear because I was up in the clouds. I'm not going to be up in the clouds, and they use anesthesia, so I'm not going to feel anything. Yeah. I'm going to pick a good dentist that's well recommended. He's going to do a good job. I'm not going to have the same issues that I had up there. Yeah. And the conscious mind will go, okay. This is why when you see the stage shows and I say, you're when you wake up, you'll feel like your feet are stuck to the floor, or you feel like your bum's stuck to the floor. You can't stand up. When you see people, I can't stand up. It's because when they're in hypnosis, whatever I tell them, if they want to accept it, they will accept it. And that's the important thing. It's a suggestion. It's not a command. It's not an instruction. You never hear he gave him a hypnotic instruction. It's a hypnotic suggestion, because I will suggest it. In the same way as I might say, when someone's in hypnosis now, strip off naked and run around the streets. If they go, well, that's against my beliefs, I don't want to do that. Even in hypnosis, they won't do that. It's only if they want to accept that suggestion and they're open to that suggestion that it will happen. And I see that a lot, probably most commonly in the likes of stop smoking, that I will hypnotize someone and say, you're no longer a smoker.
Right. Yeah.
But they'll wake up and you go, I still like that one last thing at night. And then they won't stop. So unlike the movies, you've got to want to get rid of that anxiety. You've got to want to stop that smoking. You've got to want to lose weight. If you don't want to lose weight, but you say, make me lose weight, I can't do it. Even hypnosis will not happen, because remember, it's about you talking to yourself. And if you consciously go, you know what, I just love cake and I don't want to stop eating cake. When I it's almost like taking a barrier between the conscious and the unconscious. It's almost like me sliding that little barrier out of the way and say, use to talk. And you, the unconscious part, find out what the conscious really wants. Yeah. And I'm going to move the barrier and I'm going to sit back and let you have that dialogue. And if that dialogue goes, I want to keep doing it, the unconscious mind goes, okay, I'll keep you doing it. Whereas if someone really wants to lose weight and I remove that, but they've tried all the diets and they keep putting it back on again, they've tried all the, this and that and the other techniques and tools or whatever, and they just can't do it. Then when I move that barrier and, the unconscious mind goes, well, you told me that your mum reminded you that there's starving kids in Africa and you should eat all the plate, whether you're hungry or not, and you accepted that rule. And your conscious mind's going, I know, that was good advice because I was a picky eater and mum was doing the right thing. She didn't mean any harm. She was doing the right thing. She told me to eat up and that there were starving kids in Africa that didn't have that food and I should respect that food. She was teaching me respect. She was teaching me manners and she was teaching me not to be picky about my food. But I'm older now and I've put on weight and now that's not healthy for me. And the unconscious mind will go, okay, so I'll scratch that rule. I'll maybe teach that to my kids because they respect and eating up and being healthy and not being picky. That's a good thing. So I'll teach that to the kids, but I'll not take that on board myself now. I won't, be strict on that rule anymore. Yeah. That's the dialogue that's happening. But it'll only happen if you want it to happen consciously, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I remember somebody said that to me before. Somebody else was talking about it. And they said, you need to want to do it. To be hypnotized, you need to want it. You need to want to do the thing that you're going
I always think, it's one of those funny things. I felt at the time, I use it as a regular analogy now. I felt at the time really stupid because, back in the domestic science or home economics days when we were at school, cookery classes, and I said, well, miss, what are we making next week? She says, we're going to make yogurt. Okay, what ingredients do we need to bring in? She says, well, you need to bring in some yogurt. And I go, isn't that what we're going to make? But, I know there's other ways to make yogurt, but one popular way is to take a little culture of yogurt and that will develop more yogurt. So you need a bit of, want to do something to make it bigger, So if you don't want to do it, I am not going to make you do it against your will. And probably the best proof of that, and I don't want to expose my morals too much, but I'll say the phrase, only as a phrase, if I can make people do things against my will, I'd go down to the bank and say, you're going to give me £1 million. Yeah. And I would have it, which I don't. So that sort of proves it doesn't work. Well, I wouldn't do it anyway. You know, you know me. I wouldn't do it. But
of course you wouldn't do it.
To coin the phrase, you get the idea.
Yeah, of course. I know it really is fascinating, and I have watched it. In fact, a bit like what I'm saying now about people being nervous and wondering about it, and even people come and say, "Yeah, no, I'm quite interested in it," but maybe not prepared to go that bit further and say, okay, I'll have a session of it, or because you do need to trust someone. And I've done that with you. I've watched you and listened to you talking to people and all before I really went too close to you, because I thought, I don't want to get roped into this if I have to, and it's going to be awkward to say no. But then when I learned more about it, I thought it's okay. Well, it might not be okay with everyone. I don't know that, but I know with you, having listened to you and like and trust gets in there, and then you think, okay, I'm safe here, because I think you need to do it with somebody that you do feel safe with. Obviously you need to trust them, because whatever your problem is or you want to get sorted, it's personal to you. And I know some things might be me talking about my teeth, it's no big deal, who hears that, but there will be other situations where people are embarrassed or don't really want the world to know, or anybody else to know what they've been through, or what their situation is. And I know that as well, it would be completely confidential with you.
And beyond that, as I've explained, someone could come in for a sexual issue, for instance.
Yeah.
And there's very little talking I don't get a lot of information, a lot of detail to help them change their situation and mindset around that. Yeah. Whether it's erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation or vaginismus or whatever, we don't talk at length about the sex life.
Yeah.
That remains private and personal, because I'm just getting you to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And find out that change. Maybe, someone embarrassed you in school, or maybe something happened. You saw a certain movie or something that gave you a certain thought pattern that wasn't true, So, but I don't see that detail. You get to connect with yourself. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it.
I think that's very important, that people realize that there is that confidentiality. And obviously you will not have them say or do anything they don't want to do, and that it's totally, again,
one of the things I say in a session to every client is, you're here today to stop smoking, for instance. And I say, if during the session while you're in hypnosis, you might hear me say, give me your PIN number. Your brain will just go, what's that got to do with stop smoking? And you won't give it to me. Yeah. Because your conscious mind is not unscrewed and set outside the door where it can't hear us. Yeah. Your conscious mind is still inside that skull, is still listening to everything. It's still connected to the ears. So your conscious mind is always there to protect you. It will not let you do anything against your morals, your beliefs, or your religion or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the bigger thing for me is, if anybody is listening to this and wants to find out more, I will have a free chat with them. We'll get on Zoom so you can see me eye to eye, or get on the phone if you just want to chat. We can have a conversation, and that's free. Okay. The only thing I charge for is when we go into the hypnosis side of things. So if you just want to make an inquiry, but look at the testimonials page. You look at the testimonials page on my website, you'll see lots of testimonials. Some people say, well, I don't know if this stuff works. And I say, well, don't ask me. Of course, I'm in inverted commas, and it's a crude thing to say. I'm selling it. No, that's my business. I say, don't ask me. Look at what my clients are saying. Look at the changes they have received. Yeah. And that's the proof of the pudding, really.
I have a totally different view on it now, actually, than I had before. For years I had this thing, stay away from it. I don't like it. It's totally wrong. It's about like going to the dentist, but I realize now, and but I've spent more time and looked at it and listened to you and things like that, I realize it's a totally different thing than I thought it was.
I mean, I to again go back into the wee bit of the history. I learned just as a hobby, and as I say, I went out in the streets of Belfast and just hypnotized people as an entertaining point of view. And then people started to come up to me and said, "Can that stuff help me sleep better? Can that stuff help me stop smoking?" And I progressed into the therapeutic side of things, or change work side of things, as I like to call it. So I've gained unique experiences from that entertainment side of things.
Yeah.
And I've got unique point of view. I now run with a lady called Sheila Granger in the UK, a mentoring group. And there's over 150 hypnotherapists worldwide, from Canada, America, Belgium, Spain, UK, Australia, New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
all over the world that attend that coaching program. And I work with Sheila to coach those. So I've gained a lot of experiences to be able to give unique help and support to other hypnotherapists.
And obviously you can do a lot of that. And we have clients in the States and, you know, as you say, all over the place, but you can do a lot of that on the Zoom, can't you? Well, you have to do it on the Zoom now.
Exactly. Well, it would be nice if they flew me over, you know, give me a first class ticket. Here's a first class ticket, come over.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I work with people in Hawaii, in Australia, in Canada, in America.
And it's good, is it really? Is it equally as good?
It's equally as good. Because bottom line is, it's about me talking to you to get you to connect with yourself. So if you're in America, the real work has been done by you inside your head by yourself. I'm just guiding you to that place. Again, another analogy is like, you know, taking up Everest. You know, I'll put my backpack on, you'll put your backpack on. I'll say, right, I'm guiding you in the right direction. At any point in that journey, you can say, I've had enough. I'm heading back down the mountain. Okay, you're always in control.
Yeah.
So I will guide you, and if you don't want to follow those instructions, you're free to do so. There's no kidnapping of your willpower. There's no kidnapping of your mind. You can't stop at any time you want. But you know, that's where, again, as you say, you got to trust the person you're working with. And it's no different than, you know, I'm going to buy a car or I'm going to buy a house. You've got to trust that estate agent. If you think that estate agent is going to screw you over, there's going to be friction. You're not going to be happy with the relationships. And it's the same with a hypnotist. You've got to be happy with myself, or if you rather have a woman or rather have someone without glasses, whatever the situation, you've got to pick someone that you go, I like this person.
Yeah.
That's
and that's what I said to you. I watched you for a while, and then I knew the vibes were okay, and I thought, right, he's a good man. I get good feelings from me. Really, I've listened to how you looked after other people and, you know, helped other people. I thought, yeah, he's a good person. He's my kind of person, that man. So
thank you very much.
And then I got chatting to you and I thought, oh, he's good. I like him. So I'm actually fascinated, and I know that quite a lot of people are as well, and they are, but maybe not as forward as me, or just don't want to come forward. But the fact that you've just said they can contact me without any obligation if they want to find out more.
That's it.
Because, you know, I even have people sometimes who, as you know, come to me for like weight management and stress and different things like that and all. And sometimes I know what we need to do. I know what I need to do and what they need to do, but we don't always do it. So sometimes people maybe need a little bit of extra help with some things as well, you know. And I think that is one of the ways to with somebody you trust, to go there and see if that helps it. You know,
well, that's it. And I love what you said there in terms of weight management. I don't call it weight loss. I call it weight management. Because you're not going to just lose it, you're going to manage it for life. You're going to get down to the ideal weight and manage that process going forward. Exactly. And again, this is where the likes of yourself and myself, we work as a team. I don't give out dietary advice. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not an expert on food and a dietitian. I'm not an expert on exercise. So I'm not going to advise on exercise. That's not what I do. When you come to me again, you don't need your perfect weight, but you know, if someone comes to me for weight management, you know, I'm giving them the mindset, you know, and I say to every client, I says, do you know about any diets? Do you know about any exercise? Oh, I know all about them. They've done the research. They've been spending years looking at exercises. They've spent the years knowing how many calories are in a banana, how many calories are in this, how many calories are in that, you know, so they know all this information. And again, this is what I'm saying. It's there ready to be accessed. So I'm not giving them any of that guidance or advice on food or exercise. I'm just giving them the mindset to say, put it into use, stick with it, because you can do it. Yeah. And they do it themselves.
Fantastic. I'm just going to say, I can see a lot of people on there. Thank you all for watching. You probably see me looking down at my phone, as you know. We can't see the chat when we're on the laptop on the Zoom here, but I watch my phone, so I can see the people that are in there. Thanks all of you that are coming on to watch it tonight, and those of you that are going to watch it on the replay. And please don't be shy. He means that he's offering to have a chat, anybody who wants to. And I mean, I say, why not? If there's something you're even thinking about, give it a go, because I know now you would be in safe hands. I've no doubt about that. But
let me extend that further. If anybody just, you know, they don't have an anxiety, they don't have a fear, or don't have a phobia, but they're just curious about a stage show they just watched, give me a call. Glad to chat. I love talking about hypnosis. I love educating people, because that person that goes, oh, so it's not like that, they might have a sister or a brother that does need my help, and they'll go, you know what, I was talking to this guy because he just said he would chat. There's no intention of business. It's not like, oh, if I talk them the right way, they'll become a client. I just want to educate people on hypnosis. There's that many misconceptions and stories and Hollywood movies of people floating off the floor and stuff like that there, which just isn't true. That's not how hypnosis works. I just want to dispel all those myths and help people understand that. That's my mission in life.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come on here as well, because I know what I thought about it, and I know just from some comments girls have sent to me or said to me, I've always wondered about it and things like that. So now's the time to dispel all those rumors and some of the nonsense that goes with it. You know what I mean? So I thought that would be a great idea to have you on, because I have heard you, seen you operate, and I thought that you like that. A lot of people will realize what hypnosis is about now, and not like the silly way I thought it was.
Indeed.
Turan, I think we're on here about 45 minutes now. I get carried away when I get excited and love the chat. So I'm going to end up now. And so once again, if you don't mind putting your details in Noeleen's kitchen table on the page, so that people can
I will do that.
the website and things like that. And I can't wait to have a look at the YouTube channel, because I didn't even know it existed, but I certainly will be looking at it from now on. And those of you that listen on the replay, thank you for that. As I know, because as the week goes on, more and more people are listening to it. So once again, Turan, thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
Here. And everybody else that listens at any stage, thank you. It's great to have you with us. And I look forward to seeing you all next week then.